chapter 3.
Woe to her that is filthy and polluted, to the oppressing city. She obeyed not the voice, she received not correction, she trusted not in the Lord, she drew not near to her God. Her princes within her are roaring lions, her judges are evening wolves. They gnaw not the bones till the morrow. Her prophets are light and treacherous persons. Her priests have polluted the sanctuary. They have done violence to the law. The just Lord is in the midst thereof. He will not do iniquity. Every morning doth he bring his judgment to light. He faileth not. But the unjust knoweth no shame. I have cut off the nations. Their towers are desolate. I made their streets waste, that none passeth by. Their cities are destroyed, so that there is no man, that there is none inhabitant. I said, surely thou wilt fear me. Thou wilt receive instruction. So their dwellings should not be cut off. Howsoever I punished them. But they rose early and corrupted all their doings. Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. For then will I turn to the people a pure language, that they may all call upon the name of the Lord, to serve him with one consent. From beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, my suppliants, even the daughter of my dispersed, shall bring mine offering. From beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, my suppliants, even the daughter of my dispersed, shall bring mine offering.
Over the centuries, scattered reports told of Jewish tribes living beyond the mythical Sambatyon River, of a remote African land inhabited by the 10 lost tribes of Israel. Of a remote African land inhabited by the 10 lost tribes of Israel.
Special report. I'd like to walk with me and show you where I'm at. We are in a very sacred place, actually, for the Igbo people. We are in a place that called Obu God. What the word Obu means? The temple of God. According to the legend and according to some historical information, the question is how the Igbo people, by the way, the word Igbo related to the word Hebrew. Obviously, when they first came here, they asked him, who are you? They said, we are Hebrews. Well, they said, well, no, Hebrew, we are Hebrews. That's how they got the name Hebrew. And we are inside right now. Show them the temple of God. So remember, the 10 tribes have been exiled, and about 630 BC they started their migration all the way to Africa. And according to the artifacts here of the Igbo people, some of this related to the tribe of God, the people of God, and this is a place that is a memorial for the tribe of God and for the people of God. So this is an ancestry that is not as important to them. It's important to every Jewish person in the world to see that. Shalom. Can you say something about this place? Can you tell a little bit about this place?
As you were saying, this is Obu God.
Obu God. Obu God.
Yeah.
The palace.
The palace
of God.
God, yes.
So really, is that a common belief for the people that the descendants of the tribe of God came here?
Exactly.
Exactly, right?
Yes,
which is not far-fetched. The 10 tribes have been exiled, and they settled here.
Ezra of Agleri that has maintained a dynasty
He is the 34th king in Obugad. But apart from that they have maintained this kingship and dynasty, other Israelites are equally in Igbo land. We have Zebulun, we have Ephraim, we have Menashe, we have Reuben, we have Danites. They are all here.
N'ibi boss wa apụta bụ si n'aka eri Gad bụ ụmụ Israel ma ọ bụ Israel si n'ọnwa ahụ ma ọ bụ anyị ma ọ bụ isi Israel na ụmụ Israel bụ nwanne n'Igbo adọrọ n'elu n'Yoruba ma ebe a si wapụta Hausa ma ebe a si wapụta na anyị na-abụ n'ọnwa n'Igbo adọrọ n'elu ị na-aga ị na-eme ihe ngala n'ọnwa Chineke ka ị bụ.
You walk with pride because you're a child of Adonai.
Ka Chineke gozie unu aba ya bụ.
Now Adonai bless us.
Shalom.
Especially.
Igbos are Israelites. The question of Igbo being Israelites are not in doubt. There are evidences that Igbos are Israelites. The journey of Igbo started when the Assyrians actually attacked and exiled the 10 tribes of Israel, the Northern Kingdom, in 722 BCE. From that period, all the 10 tribes were scattered. The bulk, according to Mazutra, were taken to Africa. Were taken to Africa. Were taken to Africa. So in Igbo land, you will see most of these lost 10 tribes. Most of these lost 10 tribes. Other Israelites are equally in Igbo land. We have Zebulun, we have Ephraim, we have Menashe, we have Reuben, we have Danites. They are all here. Other Israelites are equally in Igbo land. We have Zebulun, we have Ephraim, we have Menashe, we have Reuben, we have Danites. They are all here. Other Israelites are equally in Igbo land. We have Zebulun, we have Ephraim, we have Menashe, we have Reuben, we have Danites. They are all here.
You mentioned that they settled at Ile-Ife at a point.
Yes.
I know that the Gans also settled at Ile-Ife.
Yes.
So do they have a relation over there?
That's a relationship. In fact, Gad and Dangbe, they are the Gad family from Jacob. You know,
Okay.
Jacob had 12 sons.
Yes.
One is Gad. So Gad Adangbe. Gad Adangbe.
Oh, okay.
Then we are the Judah. The rest are the Judah group.
You're from the tribe of
Yes.
Judah.
And even our clans, they are the Levites.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Well, so you all stayed in all Ghana together. And on the day of migration, they moved southwards. So they entered the forest areas of Ghana. But we went eastwards to Ile-Ife before meeting here again.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Over the centuries, scattered reports told of Jewish tribes living beyond the mythical Sambatyon River, of a remote African land inhabited by the 10 lost tribes of Israel. In 1904, Halevi student Yaakov Feitlovich came to Ethiopia and remained for 2 years, living with, learning about, Beta Yisrael.
When Dr. Feitlovich came to Ethiopia, my father told me he was not recognized by our Kesib. He was not allowed to enter to synagogue because he was white. When Dr. Feitlovich came to Ethiopia, my father told me he was not recognized by our Kesib. He was not allowed to enter to synagogue because he was white. He was not allowed to enter to synagogue because he was white. So I myself, I thought all the Jewish people over the world are black people. So I myself, I thought all the Jewish people over the world are black people.
Yaakov Feitlovich works to strengthen Beta Yisrael's ties to the new state. In the mid-1950s, 2 groups of Ethiopian Jewish youth are brought to Israel where they study Hebrew.
Suddenly, I came into a room and found children from Romania, Poland, America, and I was the only one with a different color. I asked myself, what? Are there white Jews? My parents thought we were the only Jews left in the world. Suddenly, I came into a room and found children from Romania, Poland, America, and I was the only one with a different color. I asked myself, what? Are there white Jews? My parents thought we were the only Jews left in the world.
The biblical tribe of Dan that was taken away in the year 721 BCE by the Assyrian king, taken according to legends to a place called beyond the mountains, to Bikat Hayarech, the Valley of the Moon. Where is this place? No one knows. He starts telling us this incredible story, how a group of Jewish anthropologists and sociologists have been, for the last 17 years, carefully studying an isolated tribe in the Gondar region, the existence of which has been known for decades, but never been thoroughly researched. And this group of individuals, they're living an archaic form of Jewish life that hasn't been seen for over 2,500 years. You would probably call it the Judaism of the First Temple period. And they knew nothing about King Herod and the Second Temple. They knew nothing about Herzl or about Zionism or about Hitler or about the Holocaust, and they've never heard of the State of Israel. As a matter of fact, they didn't even know there was such a thing as Jews with white skin. They are the only Jews that are left. They are the remnants of Beta Israel, the house of Israel that was dispersed 2,700 years ago. They didn't even know there was such a thing as Jews with white skin. They didn't even know there was such a thing as Jews with white skin.
These Ethiopian children pray with the Torah, a part of the Hebrew Bible. They are some of Ethiopia's last remaining Jews. About 4,000 Jewish Ethiopians, who call themselves Beta Israel, live here in Gondar, a small city in the north. Ashenafi Asefa moved from the countryside to Gondar 12 years ago. Now he's one of the synagogue's religious leaders. He explains the origins of Judaism in Ethiopia.
We came to Ethiopia because God dispersed the Beta Israel into the four cardinal directions. So we came down from Egypt. We came here following the shores of the Blue Nile. Others went to America, Germany, and many other countries. We came to Ethiopia because God dispersed the Beta Israel into the four cardinal directions. So we came down from Egypt. We came here following the shores of the Blue Nile. Others went to America, Germany, and many other countries. Others went to America, Germany, and many other countries. We came to Ethiopia because God dispersed the Beta Israel into the four cardinal directions. So we came down from Egypt. We came here following the shores of the Blue Nile. Others went to America, Germany, and many other countries. We came to Ethiopia because God dispersed the Beta Israel into the four cardinal directions. So we came down from Egypt. We came here following the shores of the Blue Nile. Others went to America, Germany, and many other countries.
Of Beta Israel, home of the original Jews, is a most important event.
In 1670, the king declared that only Christians should live in the capital city of Gondar. So the Falasha and the Muslims have been forced to establish their own village outside the capital city. So this village was established in 1670 by the black Jewish community, what we call the Falasha, or at this moment, Beta Israel, which means the house of Israel.
The Bible tells us that all the nobles, blacksmiths, and metal workers, 10,000 people in all, were led off from Jerusalem, and that only the poorest people were left behind. Further, the Babylonians despoiled the temple and killed the high priests, Sariah and Zephaniah. The Bible further speaks of the poor Jews that were left behind in Judah. Many of them fled to Egypt. It is thought that some of these Jews continued their journey far down the reaches of the Nile, where they came to the island of Elephantine, to a place called the City of Ivories. The Bible further speaks of the poor Jews that were left behind in Judah. Many of them fled to Egypt. It is thought that some of these Jews continued their journey far down the reaches of the Nile, where they came to the island of Elephantine, to a place called the City of Ivories. It is documented in the Elephantine papyri that the Jews developed a remarkable trading relationship with the land of Ethiopia. In papyri that the Jews developed a remarkable trading relationship with the land of Ethiopia.
Chapter 44. The word that came to Jeremiah concerning all the Jews which dwell in the land of Egypt, which dwell at Migdol and at Tapanhes and at Noth and in the country of Pathros. The word that came to Jeremiah concerning all the Jews which dwell in the land of Egypt, which dwell at Migdol and at Tapanhes and at Noth and in the country of Pathros, and in the country of Pathros, and in the country of Pathros, saying, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Ye have seen all the evil that I have brought upon Jerusalem and upon all the cities of Judah. And behold, this day they are a desolation, and no man dwelleth therein, because of their wickedness which they have committed to provoke me to anger, in that they went to burn incense, and to serve other gods whom they knew not, neither they, ye, nor your fathers. Saying, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Ye have seen all the evil that I have brought upon Jerusalem and upon all the cities of Judah. And behold, this day they are a desolation, and no man dwelleth therein, because of their wickedness which they have committed to provoke me to anger, in that they went to burn incense, and to serve other gods whom they knew not, neither they, ye, nor your fathers. Chapter 44. The word that came to Jeremiah concerning all the Jews which dwell in the land of Egypt, which dwell at Migdol and at Tapanhes and at Noth and in the country of Pathros. The word that came to Jeremiah concerning all the Jews which dwell in the land of Egypt, which dwell at Migdol and at Tapanhes and at Noth and in the country of Pathros, and in the country of Pathros, and in the country of Pathros. Chapter 44. The word that came to Jeremiah concerning all the Jews which dwell in the land of Egypt, which dwell at Migdol and at Tapanhes and at Noth and in the country of Pathros. Chapter 44. The word that came to Jeremiah concerning all the Jews which dwell in the land of Egypt, which dwell at Migdol and at Tapanhes and at Noth and in the country of Pathros.
I wanted for the last I wanted to be a tour guide, but our traditional not allows the girl to be a tour guide.
Really?
As so my father told me to join this faculty of arts.
Okay.
And I want to be English teacher.
But you speak English very well.
Yes, because I studied English for 6 years.
6 years? Okay.
Yes. When I was in, 6 years, 7 years.
Okay.
When I was in primary school.
Okay. Picture. Picture?
I was able to find in Masechet Sanhedrin, page 94, that the Gemara asked where the 10 tribes have gone, and clearly Mar Zuba state to Africa. I want you to know that it was not sufficient for me to dig and see one word, but I was searching. Rashi, 850 years ago, wrote the 10 tribes went to one place, Africa. The other 2 tribes, Benjamin and Judah, spread all over the world, and Hashem will gather them. And the 10 tribes of Israel went to Africa, and by the end of time, they will come. I want you to know that according to the secrecy of the Zohar, 850 years ago, wrote the 10 tribes went to one place, Africa. 850 years ago, wrote the 10 tribes went to one place, Africa. And I was able to find in Masechet Sanhedrin, page 94, that the Gemara asked where the 10 tribes have gone, and clearly Mar Zuba state to Africa. I want you to know that it was not sufficient for me to dig and see one word, but I was searching Rashi. 850 years ago, wrote the 10 tribes went to one place, Africa.
136. I'm actually at the British Museum. I'm in the Assyrian part. Just a quick background. If you don't know who the Assyrians are, they were a mighty kingdom in what we call Northeast Africa, or you may call Middle East Africa. Rose up from the Mesopotamia area, and they took over that whole region. Now, where we're at the siege of Lachish. Lachish was one of the top cities in the kingdom of Judah. Again, Judah is part of the nation of Israel. The nation split. The northern kingdom was called Israel. The southern kingdom was called Judah. And what we're seeing is, after they totally destroyed the northern kingdom, later on they came in 701 BCE to conquer Lachish, and they did. This is them taking some of the prisoners. So as you can see here, that's an Assyrian right there, and they're setting up some Judahites for punishment, some grave punishment. They were very, very, very wicked people. And again, you see a Judahite up there. Take a look at their hair and the beard. You'll see some more as well. As we move here again, that's an Assyrian right there. And if you move right, you see some Judahite, Yahudite prisoners right there. Again, let's move over here because this is another clearer one. So you have some Assyrians there. If you take a look, these are some people of Judah. Again, just to reiterate, Judah was one of the 12 tribes of Israel. Again, these are people from Judah bowing down in submission. And if just in short, the history of these people is that about 150 years after this, 120 years really, another kingdom rose up, which was Babylon. And King Nebuchadnezzar went into Judah and destroyed Jerusalem because the Assyrians weren't able to, because the Egyptians and the Cushites came to help King Hezekiah at that time, and the Assyrians got scared, so they actually ran away. 120 years later, King Nebuchadnezzar came and destroyed Judah, and they went into Kemet or Mizraim and destroyed ancient Egypt as well. What happened was the people from Jerusalem actually ran for shelter in Egypt, as the Israelites and the Judahites always used to do anyway. The Babylonians actually ran down into Egypt and destroyed Egypt. Now those Israelites that you saw there, they were in Egypt as well, seeking refuge, as they normally do. It was their tradition. Whenever they were in trouble, they would run into Egypt. They were forced further south. Now what happened was that subsequently, a few hundred years later, the Romans destroyed Jerusalem, destroyed the whole nation, so more influx down into Egypt and down into maybe Sudan area, things of that nature happened. After that, with the rise of the Arabs and things of that nature, forced them to cross over the river into more Central and West Africa.
So let's continue down the line. We've got more slaves that are leaving the city. Now somebody tell me the difference between this guy and this guy. Whose side do you think this guy's on? The Assyrians, yeah, the conquerors, the Assyrians. And whose side do you think this guy's on? The slave, yeah, the people from Israel or Lachish. You can tell also by their distinctive hairstyle depicted in archaeology. The slave, yeah, the people from Israel or Lachish. You can tell also by their distinctive hairstyle depicted in archaeology. The slave, yeah, the people from Israel or Lachish. You can tell also by their distinctive hairstyle depicted in archaeology.
So we're looking at this war. This is one of the war that proves that we are the Jews. We have by the way, you find this word in Hebrew 2598H. 2598. The whole scripture is written in our language, and this is one of the words that proves it. We use this every day. In transliteration, this will give you ka, or literally the K sound. You can actually be the K sound. And then you have the noon, N, which comes from here. Then you have the C, or the ka sound. Kuffle gives the ka sound. And then lastly, you have the ha at the end of it. So what you have here is what? This is ka with a vowel, kano, kanoka, or kanoka. This is a word right there. An Igbo person will tell you what this is. Ancient Hebrew speakers, our language. The Jewish speakers, fake Jews, they call this what? Thank you. They call this what? Hanukkah. And here we run different. Here you're going to find out who's speaking the true Hebrew here. They call it Ha. This is Ka. Pretty much one different. Because this is not their tongue. This is Yiddish. This right here is Hanukkah. It doesn't mean any sense to a native Hebrew speaker. And an example how they hijacked our language and they popularized it through their school systems and their Jewish synagogues. So that when the real Hebrews are saying Kanoka, in fact, it wasn't the Bible was written by our ancestors. Wow. They infiltrated and stole it and mass produced it and popularized it to the whole world. And the whole world, in December, this so-called Roman period called December, the 12th month of the Roman calendar, Gregorian calendar, while the pagan Christians are deceived with Christmas, the people on the Jewish side are deceived. They also infiltrated the Hebrew custom. They were deceived with what? Hanukkah. Both of them on the wrong day, both of them dedicated to pagan idol gods. Incredible. So here you see Kanoka. And this word comes from an Igbo word, Kano. Ka means to inscribe, to anoint, to dedicate, to affix something, to invoke, to consult, to convocate. That's our language. In fact, we've broken down how we got this. Let's first of all look at the word for priest. The word for priest in the Hebrew writing, that's where you get the word for priest. In the Hebrew, so you have Kano. This is Kano, which is literally, go to the Greek Hebrew and give us the word in Hebrew 3548. This is Hebrew 3548. Read that, please.
Kohen.
It's not Kohen, it's Kahana.
Active participle of H3547. Literally, one officiating, a priest. Also by courtesy, an acting priest. It says chief ruler, priest, prince, principal officer.
Exactly. Go to the roots from 3547. Look at that one. Just go ahead.
H3547, a primitive root, apparently meaning.
You see that? That's why I told you it's Kano. You see that? It's an R. But it was changed somehow to represent a priest from a noun standpoint. But here's the verb form, Kano, exactly what we have here. Read it.
It says, H3547, a primitive root, apparently meaning to meditate in religious services.
To mediate.
Mediate.
To mediate in a what?
Religious service.
Oyenaka. That's an Igbo word. In a religious service, and that's the only place we use it. Primarily having to do with officiating, organizing. We have many other words that we use, but this is another word that we use that is so popular that today we ascribe it because we've been paganized when we went to West Africa. The Jews were paganized, the Igbo Jews were paganized in West Africa. We begin to ascribe this to Sunday worship. We call it Ubochoka. So you take this word ka, right? You put the a, just like in most Hebrew word, you put the u in front of it, it becomes what? Oka, which is a day of dedication, a day of worship, a day of religious service. But it should be Shabbata. This should be Shabbata. That should be called Oka, because that's where the day that the high priests actually do their service, and that is the same day that when also, except on the feast days as well, the high priests come in and do their sacrifices to the Almighty on the holy day. You only do this Oka on the holy day. So this also shows you that the real Jews fell apart. It proves that we fell. I am at Kazioka in the wrong day. Incredible. But the fake Jews has displaced us, and they know who we are, and they're still calling it the wrong name, Hanukkah. And the whole world think that the Hanukkah is what it is. While the real Jews is still in West Africa, call it Oka, Kanoka. And that's where you get the name for priest. Finish reading the definition for priest.
But used only as denominative from H3548.
It means to what?
To officiate as a priest.
To officiate. Oka. Oka. It's only a priest that can actually do this. And that's where the name of a priest developed from. Ka. It's amazing. It's a very powerful word. They will call it Ainakoka. In fact, they use this word to refer to going to church. In fact, the word church becomes Oka, because that's the place where the priests do their service, from what we know. And that's wrong. We take a holy word and ascribe it to a pagan practice because we fell. So it shows you the demise of us fallen. Ariel fell into Africa. But today we're going to be looking at when it was done right. At the time of the Maccabees, when the Feast of Dedication started, why it was added to the rest of the high holy days, that even our Savior celebrated it. We saw that last week, that he celebrated this feast. All Israelites celebrated it. It means so much to us, and now we're taking back our culture, our language. We're taking back our true history as the daughters of and sons of Zion. So we praise all praises to the Almighty. all praises to Ahaya, the power of the Israelites, Israel. That we are waking up and coming back to snatch from the enemies what has been stolen from us.
Over the centuries, scattered reports told of Jewish tribes living beyond the mythical Sambatyon River, of a remote African land inhabited by the 10 lost tribes of Israel.
I get serenade Makanawe him and I. I joke you know for but you hear what I when you are I am a worker, Boko, your Boka for Boko. I have no be Sarambala and Akadiota. The one you blue. And then she began back up with such one I gave. I can upon a labia for a sick happening here. I won't go down, get none of Nana. I want the man come and get no the new Kana. Yamanaji Bakasuku, Nala, and then Nana. Don't bother to pull off your shoe. I can do run a Messiah. I can do run a Messiah. I think I'm Morocco. I don't know so could look at I have for one easy. Oh, quite a for quite a get out. I go on with the neighbor and even more. I think they want any moon guy upon us. He says, I want to get it. I have to never. How about Galatian memo? I got one hand cut off. I got one kiss. I got one kitty. I will get a job more kind of thing. I won't fake kind of thing. I will when I call Janaka. I see many guys can where they are tapo. Many guys corona coupon, Yakora. I wouldn't be afraid. I got corona. Sit on 9 or the Hamana. Okay, rolling. On a woman, you will got so better papa. Ingaria, Bongari, Kembo, Wanile, Gaho, where Quetanesia, Nandiwala, Potalo. That is why I am saying that Yahweh Zibaot, Yahweh Ero, Yahweh Mekadesh, Yahweh Tiferet, Yahweh Kevush, Yahweh Shalom, Yahweh the one that is, the one that was, the one that will be forever and ever. From one generation to generation, I call the blood of all the fallen heroes. All those that their blood flew around all. All the people that died in the bush. Everyone that have lost his or her life because of this trouble. If it is truly that we are called to stand in the gap for you, I call forth your blood by this priming. I say, come forth and go to war. Come forth and go to war. We are keeping a promise. You can feel your feelings. We made a promise to you people that we are not going to give up. We made a promise that we all are going to continue in this struggle until the end of time. In as much as we are still around the corridor of eternity. I and my brothers and sisters, which are your fellow comrades, we have come out again in unison. And we are saying that we are keeping to the covenant we had with you people. We know very well that your spirit, wherever you are, recognizes covenant. And I raise up the symbol of 4 cardinal points of the earth, the governor that controls the earth. I decree and declare that this very hour, wherever any man or any woman or any country or any government have brought out money to go and do one jazz or one juju in order to destabilize the restoration of sovereign state of Biafra. I decree and declare that let such charms and juju be neutralized this very day. Order not Northern Hemisphere, listen to me. Southern Hemisphere, Western and Eastern Hemisphere, listen to me, because it is written that whatever Yahweh hears me said, exactly that we do. I stand as the oracle of your Yahweh in the presence and the witness of this Malachims here. And I pass it as a declaration that this very hour, let the multitude of Shamayim army descend in Iguachara. We have no righteousness of our own. We have no holiness of our own. I stand in the gap on behalf of everyone in this place to decree and say with my mouth that our righteousness and holiness are like filthy rags before you. We therefore invoke the righteousness of Yode Waheya. We invoke the righteousness of Yode Waheya. Invoke the righteousness of Yode Waheya. Down security of Shamayim. We call you down that you will come and fulfill that which you have promised. For you are in a covenant with him. You said that Biafra will be restored unto his word. And we are the followers of Masin Namon the Kano, peace be upon him. We therefore decree and declare this very minute that let the powers in marine kingdom arise. Let the powers in rocky kingdom arise. Let the powers in vegetable kingdom arise. Let the powers in color kingdom arise. Let the powers in animal kingdom arise. We ask them to go forth before us, come behind us, because it is written that all things work for good unto them that are in love with you. For with you, Yahweh, all things are possible. Hallelujah to you. Hosanna to you, Yahweh. Hallelujah to you, Yahweh. This is the conclusion of the matter. And we call it done by faith. Nobody showing you no nazi neighbor. Nobody see open, nobody see open. Nobody see mad double and get no no. Nasi na gaga na gaga bata. Na say otubulije otubule de anga ho wanyi. Ka bu kubi okum. Ka kubi mo oku ana hange ndegere na ndi oku.
Ancient inhabitants of these regions, from Babylonians, Assyrians, Elamite, Persians, Jews, were all black. Please stop whitewashing history. Jews were all black. Please stop whitewashing history. High intensity and a UV index of 12. White people cannot endure this heat. They cannot tolerate this heat, so they cannot be indigenous to this region. Because we semi-white looking people cannot stand this heat, so they cannot be indigenous to this region. Because we semi-white looking people cannot stand this heat. We cannot go outside too much in summers. But how can white people be indigenous to this region? And I don't say this because I'm racist. As you can see, I'm not a black person, and I look mostly like whites than blacks. I just want to tell the truth that the ancient inhabitants of these regions, from Babylonians, Assyrians, Elamite, Persians, Jews, were all black. The ancient inhabitants of these regions, from Babylonians, Assyrians, Elamite, Persians, Jews, were all black. Jews were all black. Jews were all black.
from the Bible and even the temple. They claim it's from Solomon's temple. This Gomer was placed on...
Bob tells me they placed the Gomer on a stand and used it to collect the blood from a slaughtered animal. But what's remarkable about this is that the Israelites stopped practicing animal sacrifice almost 2,000 years ago.
It's hard to get the word. It's a tangible. Where would they have
Temple of Solomon, the Jewish people?
Of course, this is quite old.
But that's just the beginning. This is a treasure trove of religious relics, and each one seems to take us closer to the true story of the Ark. Moses is holding the 2 tablets of the 10 Commandments on this. They're pulling all kinds of stuff in.
The monk is now bringing out a couple of pretty interesting objects. They call them meat forks. People were a lot smaller in ancient times. But this is very old, and I think it could possibly have some kind of connection with priestly garments in the sacrifices of the animals by the Levitical priests.
Well, the only, from what I know of ancient Judaism, the only person who wore the breastplate was the high priest. But he would have had a plate on the front of this that had the stones of the 12 tribes of Israel. Ancient Judaism, the only person who wore the breastplate was the high priest. But he would have had a plate on the front of this that had the stones of the 12 tribes of Israel. These items were used in Jewish ceremonies. So did Judaism survive here after the Levite priests were gone? These items were used in Jewish ceremonies. So did Judaism survive here after the Levite priests were gone?
This whole area was Jewish, and they called themselves Beta Israel, or House of Israel. And so the historical Jewish roots go back to this area from about 500 BC. This whole area was Jewish, and they called themselves Beta Israel, or House of Israel. And so the historical Jewish roots go back to this area from about 500 BC.
So we have all these artifacts that link this island to Jerusalem, Judaism. So we have all these artifacts that link this island to Jerusalem, Judaism.
People were a lot smaller in ancient times. But this is very old, and I think it could possibly have some kind of connection with priestly garments in the sacrifices of the animals by the Levitical priests.
Well, the only, from what I know of ancient Judaism, the only person who wore the breastplate was the high priest. But he would have had a plate on the front of this that had the stones of the 12 tribes of Israel.
People were a lot smaller in ancient times. But this is very old, and I think it could possibly have some kind of connection with priestly garments in the sacrifices of the animals by the Levitical priests.
Well, the only, from what I know of ancient Judaism, the only person who wore the breastplate was the high priest. But he would have had a plate on the front of this that had the stones of the 12 tribes.
So they did not need these items to be taken with them to Axum. They were actually abandoned. Okay, the monks have brought this bronze, very corroded bowl out. They call this a gomer. They say that they put blood in this during the blood sacrifices, and that someone would stir it to keep the blood from coagulating. It was used in the blood sacrificial services. They tell me that this bowl came from Solomon's temple. If that's true, this would be the only known implement from Solomon's temple to exist in the world today that can be verifiable.
The monks brought out a pair of ancient meat forks and said they came from Solomon's temple with the ark. The monks explained that these meat forks were used to put large pieces of meat on the fire in the burnt offering sacrifice. Each fork was topped with a budding almond symbol, one Bob had seen at other sites in Ethiopia.
And this stand is extremely old, very, very heavy. This gomer fits on the top of this stand like this. You can see it's bent from time and wear and just sheer fatigue. But they claim when they became Christian that they did not need these implements any longer because they were involving the blood sacrifice. So with Jesus Christ offering the blood of sacrifice, these were no longer needed in their ceremonies. So they were left with the monks. did they get them? They had virtually no metal on the island and no ability to manufacture these items, and plus the items were extremely old in antiquity. So where did these implements come from? Where did they get them? They had virtually no metal on the island and no ability to manufacture these items, and plus the items were extremely old in antiquity. So where did these implements come from? These monks said that I was the first one to be shown these implements, because if these ever proved to be articles that were from Solomon's temple, these photographs will be the only ones in existence to date.
The monks claimed that they possessed more than just the Ark of the Covenant. With the Ark came other implements for worship from Solomon's temple. The monks agreed to show these items and remove them from the temple treasury. This crown was said to be worn by the chief musician, one of 3 musicians who traveled in procession with the Ark.
And then these monks entered the temple treasury, and they brought out these hammered silver trumpets, very long trumpets and very ancient trumpets. And we see that in Scripture that it says in Numbers 10, verse 1, the Lord said to Moses, make 2 trumpets of hammered silver and use them for calling the community together and for having the camp set out.
These discoveries seem remarkable. But were these trumpets really relics from Old Testament times? Could they be identified as trumpets from Solomon's temple in ancient Israel? An important clue sits nearly 3,000 miles away in Rome, an arch dedicated to the Roman Emperor Titus. In this parade of victory, trumpets are seen, and they are clearly from ancient Israel.
When Titus sacked Jerusalem, he brought these trumpets back and paraded them through the streets of Rome. And a contemporary, an eyewitness that actually saw the trumpets, chiseled these trumpets on the archway in Rome at the Ark of Titus. And these trumpets seem to match perfectly with the trumpets that were brought from the treasury at St. Mary's of Zion. And these trumpets seem to match perfectly with the trumpets that were brought from the treasury at St. Mary's of Zion. And these trumpets seem to match perfectly with the trumpets that were brought from the treasury at St. Mary's of Zion. And these trumpets seem to match perfectly with the trumpets that were brought from the treasury at St. Mary's of Zion.
Do you think they were white? They were black. They were black. Abraham was black. Even Yaakov was not a white man. I think you get my point. Do you think they were white? They were black. They were black. Abraham was black. Even Yaakov was not a white man. I think you get my point.
When the Jerusalem was destroyed and we were dispersed, we stayed in Egypt, then Ethiopia. The travel continued until we find ourselves scattered all over the place.
It was a mixed bag of Israelites that migrated down here. They majority moved from North Africa, Morocco, passed through Mali, northern Nigeria, the entire length of Nigeria, then Igbo land. In not very, very ancient times, the traffic between Africa south of the Sahara and north of the Sahara was quite immense. The Sahara desert was not a barrier. There was serious traffic. We are seeing evidence that Jewish people participated in the foundations of some of the empires that existed in sub-Saharan Africa. We have Judah Pasha. I don't think that anybody but a Jew could have answered the name Judah Pasha. He led Morocco's armies against the Songhai Empire. So it's more likely for Jews to be participating in the traffic, in the trade.
Do you think they were white? They were black. They were black. Abraham was black. Even Yaakov was not a white man. I think you get my point.
So in the Igbo people, among the Igbos, you have the tribe of Ephraim as well. So you have the Gad, Yehudim, Ephraim, Reuben, Levite, and more other smaller tribes living together among the Igbos. So you have the Gad, Yehudim, Ephraim, Reuben, Levite, and more other smaller tribes
ECG Windhoek in Namibia. Everybody here sends their greetings and the best day. Happy birthday, Brother Obed. This is Mtovim Lilo from Isaka, ECG Windhoek in Namibia. Everybody here sends their greetings and the best day on your special day. We want to thank the God of Major One for providing us with you, a man of immense skills, immense leadership skills, a man with incredible power, the power to unite the people from a distance.
Shalom, we are spiritual sons and daughters of Major One in Mupane, Botswana, a tribe of Isaka. Shalom, we are spiritual sons and daughters of Major One in Mupane, Botswana, a tribe of Isaka.
Thank God for your life. We thank God for protecting you. We thank God for adding another year of glory in this year of 2020, the year of Kaf Kaf. We are saying that happiest birthday, man of God. May God protect you. May God use you more. May God extend your territory. We wish you a happiest birthday as ECG Cape Town. We are saying that enjoy your day. Continue enjoying yourself today in Jesus' name. Shalom. Shalom.
My name is Susanna from ECG, East London Branch. On behalf of our tribe of Isaka, I would like to say happy birthday to you, son of Major One, our mentor. My name is Susanna from ECG, East London Branch. On behalf of our tribe of Isaka, on behalf of our tribe of Isaka,
Yes, this is Masana, and then I'm with the tribe Isaka Wastenberg. Yes, this is Masana, and then I'm with the tribe Isaka Wastenberg.
Hello everyone, my name is Joel Malamo, the leader of tribe of Isaka in Bakersford. I'm here to represent the tribe of Isaka in Bakersford. Hello everyone, my name is Joel Malamo, the leader of tribe of Isaka in Bakersford.
ECG New Jersey tribe of Isaka, wishing Brother Obed a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Brother Obed. ECG New Jersey tribe of Isaka, wishing Brother Obed a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Brother Obed.
Over the centuries, scattered reports told of Jewish tribes living beyond the mythical Sambatyon River, of a remote African land inhabited by the 10 lost tribes of Israel.
Cannot live for yourself alone. Pass the bread around here. Let's stand side by side. See, a fish for you and a fish for me. A break of bread and a cup of tea. A fish for you and a fish for me. A break of bread and a cup of tea. Oh yeah now. Ooh, oh yeah now. Oh yeah now. Ooh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh now. A soldier say we are to live. A soldier say we must give. A soldier say we are to live. A soldier say we must give. Oh yeah now. Children, oh yeah now. Oh yeah right now. Yeah. Oh yeah. See, you're gonna have to run away. You're gonna have to run away. You're gonna have to run away. You and your selfish ways. A fish for you and a fish for me. A break of bread and a cup of tea. A fish for you and a fish for me. A break of bread and a cup of tea. Oh yeah. Ooh, oh yeah. Oh let's now. Oh yeah. Got to live the liberty. You're gonna have to run